Hi, I'm Doug with the League of Women Voters of Kansas City. Amendment 4 would change the way citizens' initiatives are approved. But first, let's talk about how the citizens' initiative process works. Not all states allow their citizens to independently change their state constitutions. Missouri is one of only 26 states where citizens can do so. Our current Constitution was written in 1945 and has been amended 119 times. Both citizens and the legislature can propose constitutional amendments. Citizens can attempt to change the Constitution by submitting an initiative petition. An initiative petition can be started by a citizen or an organization. Once the petition has been approved by the Secretary of State, the next step is to gather signatures. Current law requires getting an amount of signatures equal to 8% of legal voters for constitutional amendments and 5% of legal voters for statute changes in 6 of the 8 Missouri congressional districts. If the Secretary of State certifies that a sufficient number of signatures has been submitted and verified, the proposed amendment is placed on the statewide ballot for voter approval. How many signatures are required to get on the ballot? 8% of legal voters is defined as 8% of the total vote for governor at the last general election. In 2026, at least 25,000 signatures are needed to be collected in 6 of the 8 congressional districts for constitutional amendments and 16,000 for statutes and veto referendums. This means that statewide, at least 170,000 signatures are required for initiated constitutional amendments and 107,000 for initiated state statutes and veto referendum. The next step is for the Secretary of State and local election authorities to verify signatures. Local election authorities verify that signatures on petitions match the signatures on voter registrations on file. Around the first Tuesday in August, the Secretary of State announces the findings of the verification effort. The petitioner is notified if the Secretary determines that an insufficient number of signatures has been submitted. Any citizen can appeal that finding, with resolution of that appeal required within 10 days. If the Secretary of State determines that a sufficient number of valid signatures have been submitted, the petition is certified and placed on the ballot. It isn't easy getting a citizen initiative before the voters. Between 2010 and 2020, less than 4% of the ballot initiatives that were filed by citizens were certified by the Secretary of State's office. However, once certified, the odds of passage improve. In the last 50 years, 66% of the certified ballot initiatives were approved. For example, in 2022, a ranked choice voting initiative petition failed to get the required number of signatures, while the recreational marijuana initiative was certified only on appeal. Currently, a simple majority of votes is needed for passage of citizen initiative petitions and amendments from the legislature. Amendment 4 would change that only for citizens initiative petitions. This change would make it more difficult for citizen initiative petitions to pass. Missouri is not alone in seeing attempts to restrict the citizen initiative. 26 states have seen laws advanced to restrict citizen initiatives. Most recently, proposals by the South Dakota and Ohio legislatures to restrict the initiative process were rejected by voters. In order to understand Amendment 4, we need to understand terms in the ballot language. We need to understand the difference between statewide majority and majority in each district. Currently, ballot measures are approved by a simple statewide majority. Amendment 4 would change that to requiring a majority in each district, which would be more restrictive. Here are two images that compare simple statewide majority to majority in each district. On the left, using the simple statewide majority, 51% of the voters can determine the outcome. This is also known as majority rule. On the right, we have majority in each district necessary for approval. In this case, it would take only 5% of the voters to defeat a ballot measure. Now we're ready to talk about Amendment 4. Amendment 4 is a constitutional amendment proposed by the legislature. It would make it more difficult for citizen-initiated amendments to gain approval. However, it would not make constitutional amendments from the legislature more difficult to gain approval. Here's the official ballot title, which we'll see on our ballots. Shall the Missouri Constitution be amended to modify current requirements that a statewide majority of voters may approve initiative petitions to amend the Constitution, require a majority of voters in each congressional district to approve initiative petitions to amend the Constitution, and make available to each voter the full text of initiative petitions with their ballot. Here's the fiscal note, which will also be on your ballot. The Department of Corrections estimates increased annual costs of up to $21,817. The Office of State Public Defender estimates an unknown fiscal impact. Other state governmental entities estimate no costs or savings. Local governmental entities estimate no costs or savings. Here's the fair ballot language, which we will not see on our ballots. Yes vote will amend the Missouri Constitution to modify current requirements of Article 3 and Article 12 that a simple statewide majority of voters may approve initiative petitions to amend the Constitution. Require a majority of voters in each congressional district to approve initiative petitions to amend the Constitution, and make available to each voter the full text of initiative petitions with their ballot. A no vote will not amend the Missouri Constitution to require majority approval in each congressional district for initiative petitions to amend the Constitution, or make available the full text of initiative petitions with the ballot. If passed, this measure will not increase or decrease taxes. Let's talk about the pros and cons. Whose vote counts? Proponents say Amendment 4 is about preventing urban areas from controlling rural areas. Opponents say the current system already protects everybody equally. Every voter's vote counts the same, whether they live in St. Louis, Kansas City, Springfield, or a rural community. Amendment 4 actually does the opposite of what its supporters claim. It gives a disproportionate veto power to voters in one district over all the others. Who decides? Proponents say there are no hearings and public testimony at the state capitol for citizen initiative petitions. Opponents say the Citizens Initiative Petition gives Missouri citizens the power to directly propose and enact laws and constitutional amendments by collecting signatures and placing measures on the ballot for a public vote. This is one of the most important democratic tools Missourians have. It allows the people to act directly when their elected officials won't. Is direct democracy good? Proponents say the Citizens Initiative petition puts major policy decisions in the hands of voters rather than the government they elected to represent them. This is the problem with direct democracy. Opponents say the citizen initiative process provides direct citizen representation. It promotes civic engagement and encourages citizens to discuss issues with one another. It promotes accountability between the government and the governed. Is it easy or hard to amend the state constitution with citizen initiatives? Proponents say amending the state constitution has become too easy. Opponents say Missouri law requires petitioners hoping to amend the state constitution to collect more than 171,000 signatures from registered voters in 6 of Missouri's 8 congressional districts by May. The path to successfully landing an initiative on the ballot usually costs millions of dollars and months of litigation. Do we need more restrictions? Proponents say Amendment 4 protects Missouri voters by strengthening the rules for changing the state constitution. It is designed to make the initiative petition process more transparent and ensure constitutional changes have broad support from Missouri voters. Opponents say under the proposal, as few as 5% of voters could defeat any ballot measure. The new requirements would only apply to citizen-led initiative petitions, not amendments placed on the ballot by the legislature. Thank you for taking the time to become an informed voter, and we'll see you at the polls on August 4th.